Hello again. I'd like to welcome everybody to this evening's program. I'm Paula Calamaris. I'm the Vice President of the Hellenic Preservation Society. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening for what looks to be a very exciting evening. Before we begin, though, I would like to thank our committee of my co-chair, Heidi Peters, Evangelia Ramudi, Era Griffin, and Dean Peters. And they worked very hard to put all of this together for you. And Marina Ramirez, I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. This evening, we're very pleased to welcome our honorees, Bimeros and Vasilios Mavrakis, and also our guest, Dr. Betsy Bowman, who's going to give us a wonderful presentation in a little while. And most of all, I'd like to welcome all of you. We really, really appreciate you coming and supporting the Hellenic Preservation Society. And for anyone who's not a member of the Preservation Society, we are offering discount memberships for the next few hours. So if you'd like to see Era or someone or one of the board, we'll be glad to take your membership. We're looking forward to having a very exciting year. And we had a very fulfilled and exciting last year, too. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our president, Dean Peters, who will talk to us about our awards. Dean.
Christos Anesti. Thank you all for coming. Leave it to the Greeks. We've been marketing this event, for the last 6 weeks or so, and we had, 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, and then in the last 6 or 7 days, we get like 80. So thank you all for being here, and we're so glad that you are. We are the Hellenic Preservation Society. This year we're using the Greek tagline, which reads actually backwards, but Syllogos Diatirisis Ellinismou, which means Society Preservation Greek or Hellenic. But anyway, thank you all for being here. And I know you are all eager to hear from Dr. Bowman, as am I. Bylaws require me to take care of a little business first. This is a meeting, after all, as well as an educational event. And so, Father Anastasios, thank you for leading us in prayer from St. Paul. Esteemed keynote speaker, welcome. To our worthy awardees, Axii, yes, Axii, honored guests, the dedicated HPS board, without whom this room would be silent and dark tonight. So, and HPS members and non-members alike, thank you again for your support. And tonight, among other things, we're going to talk about what we've been doing as a society, and also May is membership month for us, so we're going to take a look at that too toward the end. Oops. So our mission is to present a unified voice of the Hellenes. Can you hear everything okay? All right. Unified voice of the Hellenes that will promote the Greek experience through programs, collections, and preservation. And this image here is the temple of Hephaistos, in the Roman tradition, Vulcan. But this is near the Athenian Agora, easily visible from the top of the Acropolis. We are a 501c3 tax entity. We were incorporated in 1991. We sponsor, promote, and support Hellenic cultural, artistic, educational, and social events. And we conserve, collect, and protect Hellenic art and, again, cultural and religious items. And this photo here is from the monastery on the hill overlooking the city of Thessaloniki, Greece's second largest metropolitan area. And now I'll take you through the timeline of where our society has been for the past now 15 months. But first, I'd like to introduce you to our couple of honored guests. First is Dr. Andrea Durstein. She is the Virginia N. and Randall J. Barbato Deputy Director and Chief Curator at the Cleveland Museum of Art. Andrea, would you just please, thank you. Thank you. And next, I'd like to introduce, some of you already know Seth because he had the keynote speaker at last year's event. And he is now the Alexander Dern Curator of Greek and Roman Art and Chair of Art of the Ancient Mediterranean, Africa, Europe, and Europe to 1800, and Decorative Art. And Seth's curatorship has recently, or last fall or so, been endowed. So he's now the Alexander Dern Curator of Greek and Roman Art. And congratulations to the museum and to you, Seth. And the Greek word is axios, means worthy. And you'll hear that a little more tonight. So thank you. Congratulations. And so a year ago, guess who? It was a cold and single-digit temperature night, a snowy, blowy day, and Dr. Seth Pevnik braved all the elements and became our keynote speaker, and his talk was entitled From Ancient Greece to CMA. You can see there the ancient Greek helmet recently added to the permanent collection. It's prominently on display, at least it was the last time I was there. Still there? Okay, it's worth seeing, so everybody go and have a look. This meeting, again, it was a cold and snowy day. That's why we moved it to May, to see if we can overcome the weather and all that. So now we have to interfere with graduations and people not able to come because of that. Anyway, also at that meeting, we gave out the inaugural Iliad Award. Maria Cashy got it. And Odyssey Award, where Emmanuel Hermidis got it. He's right there. And congratulations to them. And so we move on. Since our last general meeting, there have been 2 Greek Independence Days where the Hellenes invade Tremont. And Athanasi, where's there. He and I are carrying the colors here on both days. It was cold enough to wear a jacket and maybe even gloves, but we didn't get rained on either of the last 2 years, so thank you for that. But, well, keto chrono. We'll see what happens next year. On April 12th, 2025, at Willowick Public Library, they had an Around the World event, and Vice President Paula Calamaris delivered a great slideshow entitled and talked Greek myths and heroes, and she traced the origin of the mythological gods of ancient Greece. And 1 year ago tonight, Heidi's going to be mad at me because she has her picture up there, but 1 year ago, we had a very nice legacy donation. We were hosted by Seth, who took us through the galleries, his galleries at the museum, and then we were actually allowed to use one of the classrooms for our board meeting following that. And it turned out to be a very good thing for us because the Pan-Epirotic Federation, the Dona chapter, of that federation were dissolving, and the remaining treasury was given to us. It came to $9,800, and it was rounded to $10K by a generous board member, and thank you for that. Here we have Heidi presenting a check to Paula Calamaris and her godsister and fellow Epirotisa, Anne Frangos, were on hand to see that. In the middle of June, the Annunciation Church in the Greek Garden hosted the Honorable Ioannis Michail Loverdos, Greek Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, and also his consul in Chicago, Emmanuel Goubarakis, and Minister Loverdos said, quote, "You are the bridge between Greece and Greek culture to American society, and Greece will always be with you." And it was a very nice event. It had rained a good part of that day, but it cleared up and it stayed dry during the evening. And you see the Director Lou Frangos sitting there, and also I see Metropolitan Savas came in for that as well. In early August, we were invited to participate in an event hosted by the Tremont West Development Corporation. It was Folk and Fashion Night. And basically this was a walkabout. And the idea was to have pop-up museums. One was from the Museum of Art, and they came in with a batik exhibit. And HPS was asked to bring some stuff from our textiles collection. And the fellow playing the pipe is very loosely woven, some sort of an embroidery, and we had 220 people come by. He got more attention than anybody. And we have two of those. In August, the Metropolis of Pittsburgh hosted its second annual, we called it Gomo-Palooza, but it's a music and arts festival that took place at the St. Demetrius Church in Warren, Ohio. And on the left, the photo on the left is our Metropolitan Savas, who is dressed a little more casually than we're used to seeing him. But he's backed by a backup group made of his clergymen, and they call themselves the Band of Fathers. And we had a table there with some exhibit and in the exhibition area, and then a fellow parishioner from St. Constantine and I did John Denver's song "Take Me Home, Country Roads," and that's us on the right there playing a little music. And the very next day, the Cleveland Cultural Gardens Federation hosted One World Day. So that most people know that the cultural gardens that line Martin Luther King Boulevard, there are like 42 of them, believe it or not. I think it's about 42. And through the Greek Garden Association, we were there, and some of our guys, I know Manoli is there and Marina is there. You can't quite see him. Jim Tracus we're carrying the colors, and they left me back at the Greek Garden to stamp the kids' passports as they came by. And it's a great idea. And if you've never been, don't go on a rainy day, but go on a nice day. They close down the whole street. It's pedestrian. They have a great parade. It's very colorful and worth going. I've enjoyed both times that I went. So keep that in mind. About a month later, on September 28th, is the 21st annual Dr. John and Helen Collis lecture on Greek and Byzantine art. And Dr. Alicia Walker, professor of art history at Bryn Mawr in Pennsylvania, her title was Virtue and Adornment in Byzantium, Beautiful Bodies in the Christian East. Now, she was an alumna of Bryn Mawr, if I'm not mistaken, but she took her graduate degrees from Harvard. And about 2 years ago, she was named a senior fellow at Dumbarton Oaks, a Harvard University research center located in Washington, D.C. And that's the level of people that come and give lectures at the Collis Lecture. And speaking of which, save the date. The 22nd Dr. John and Helen Collis Lecture will be on Sunday, September 27th, and the title of it will be The Acropolis Museum and the Parthenon Marbles, and Professor Nikolaos Stambolidis, the General Director of the Acropolis Museum in Athens, will be the speaker for that event, and we're looking forward to that. And HPS will help host the after lecture reception. So, and Seth has been integral to making this happen, and so thank you for that. Something to look forward to in a few months. And then now we come to March, 2 months ago. Theodora Miller is a visiting artist, and she indeed did have a tale. And she was, we brought her in from Richmond, Virginia, and she brought some great weather with her. It was very spring-like, in early March, and better than we're getting in early May so far. But she had suffered a brain trauma. She was a corporate person and doing well with her career in corporate America, and had a kind of a nasty fall of an accident at home and suffered a brain trauma that required her to be rather sedate and in quiet, dark rooms for long periods of time. But eventually, slowly, she got better, and she ended up going back to her art and used that art as her therapy in coming back to regular life again, which she has done. A lot of people were at our event when we had her at St. Constantine, and she expresses herself through her art through characters of the Greek alphabet. And she's done some very clever things. Again, many of us were here for that, and she engaged so well with the audience that, I mean, it's a gift that people have, that they can actually do that. And this was we were helped in this with a matching grant support from Cuyahoga Arts and Culture. So it was a matching grant. We're still looking for those grants we don't have to match, but we're working on that. More later. And so 3 weeks ago, the Cleveland International Hall of Fame inducted 6 more inductees, and founding HPS member and former HPS president Andy Chikalis was the first Greek-American inductee invited at that time. He's sitting over there, Axios. Andy still sits on the board of the Greek Garden Association, and we welcome Andy and his wife Faith to us. It's good to see you. Good to see you back, and I hope you're here for the next one too. And by the way, Andy designed the logo that you've been seeing on the bottom right, although we took some liberties and added our website to it, but he put those letters together in that way. And he's done some of the iconography at St. Constantine and Helen. And those of you who have come into our church notice that the filigree and some of the vine work on the vertical walls, well, Andy did that, and I have some photos to prove it. So anyway, this is where we've been for the past 15 months, and we'll look forward to whatever the next 12 months, I'll say, what we have to look forward to, and including the Collis Lecture, of course. And now a few final slides on the business end of what we've been doing. So first of all, we've been working very hard on reimagining and updating our website and keeping it very active and very, we change it up a lot. And we communicate best and most frequently through our website at hpsneo.org. And we have spent many hours and worked diligently. And thank you to Jean Porter for her great work in keeping this together. And she's over there. She executes this and does things, and I, we talk back and forth a couple of times a week just about this. And you notice we have some news events last fall. You notice that Pope Leo and our patriarch are in Turkey together discussing Bartholomeus I. But we have some some icons. We have some group photos, restored icons that from Annunciation Church are on our website. We always have a nice image on our homepage. Here is a spring shot of the Acropolis, and Dr. Papadopoulos, who was Seth's advisor once upon a time, gave the Collis Lecture a couple of years ago. If you haven't heard that, go to the website, click on the Collis Lecture, and sit there and listen. Before long, I mean, it was just enthralling and what he had to say, speaking to everybody for an hour plus without any notes. Unbelievable. We have a museum without walls, which is being displayed. Someday maybe we'll have one with walls, but that's a little bit in the future. We continue to organize and catalog our collections, and we've reduced our expensive controlled climate storage by consolidation. And say to the left, for example, on this one is not a shepherd's crook, but a walking staff carved with a head figure on it. There's an altar cloth that we have, which is on display right to the side here on the black table, and an icon of St. George that needs some work. An old picnic photo of one of the Hellenic picnics, and our liturgical gospel was shown as a gift from St. Constantine and Helen, and that's here on the side as well. We're very active on social media. This event and other events that we have captured on video are on YouTube. You can find it there. We have a presence on Facebook and a presence on Instagram that Jean administers, and she's there every day posting stuff. So thank you again for that. One of the things that we're trying to change and get more serious about is restoration. This is a picture of, and this is a picture of a photograph. So the photograph is the artifact. And this is the HPS Supreme Lodge with President Calvin Coolidge in 1929 on the south lawn of the White House. And we believe that what we inherit, we are called to protect. So we have started including in our budget every year, and whether it's a lot or a little, depends on how we're doing, is to invest in our collection, in our archives, so that when we do get a museum with walls, we'll have something worthy to put in it. So we have contracted with the ICA Art Conservation, who's in Cleveland. Holly Witchy was actually invited to be with us here tonight, but I think she was in Cincinnati. But so they are in the process of restoring and framing this photo to museum quality. And I hope that we get it back. It actually hasn't started. I think in August we're scheduled to get that work done. And I hope that we might have it back in time for display at the next Collis lecture. That was a very generous gift from John and Cynthia Asimakopoulos. And so our grant activity, and it's the lament of the muses, because of the 18 grants we applied for during this past year, we only got one of them. But we were thankful for that. And so 10 did not reply, those that we applied to did not reply. There were 7 denials, and 1 was awarded for the Theodora Miller event. But if perseverance were a grant category, we'd be fully funded. But it isn't, and we're not. So it's a little like Odysseus, who started out for home 18 times and made it once. So anyway, this is part of our relationship and how we plan to raise some money. As we apply for these grants, sometimes we even get feedback, and we can get better, and we will continue. Even if we're denied one year, it doesn't mean it's going to happen another year, and we're going to continue with that process. And drachmas, dollars, and such. As a nonprofit entity, we are grateful for the time, talents, and treasure of our supporters. And money is the fuel that drives the engine of commerce, but it is purpose and not profit that drives us, because again, we're a nonprofit organization. That doesn't mean we can't get a little wealthier to help people do other things, but as a unique part of our business model, we turn currency into culture. So, and we define currency broadly. It could be cash, it could be the time, it could be talent. And this evening is a case in point. I mean, there are so many people here, and we have all sorts of talents and treasures and time. So, well, again, the evening is a case in point. And finally, you may have heard directly through one of us, Paula was talking about May is membership month for us, and we do that again. And because May is membership month, I'm sure the whole town of Rocky River is abuzz with that. And here's what it might look like outside the door. May is membership month, and this poor raisin put on his fustanella just to be here. They didn't just hear it through the grapevine, they are the grapevine. And May is membership month. Don't just celebrate your roots, help grow them. May is membership month. Work in harmony with other people, like-minded people. And I have no doubt that if Bill Mavrakis could jump into this slide, he would, and he'd be leading. And so May is membership month, and always what we do together, we try to have some fun along the way, and we usually do. And tonight is again a case in point. And so we come to the part of our program. That's the end of my part of it. Thank you very much. And thank you. And now we come to the service awards. And for that, I need my glasses. Okay, well, I will need my glasses. The Iliad Award is awarded for extreme dedication and exemplary effort in support of the Hellenic Preservation Society and in pursuit of its goals and its mission. And in this year, this award goes to Miss B. Miros. And there she is. I will call you up in a moment, but first I have to read a little bio. And here's a picture of her award there over here, and there. Whoops. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So B. Now I need my glasses. Okay. B was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and baptized at the Annunciation Church in Tremont. And eventually becoming a charter member of St. Constantine and Helen in Cleveland Heights. As a young woman, B attended Greek events and dances and social events in the Cleveland community. And at one such event, she spotted a handsome young man from across the room. No, this is not West Side Story. But, and B says that in case you don't believe in love at first sight, that she told her friends that very evening that she would be marrying that man. And good to her word, she and Chris Miros did get married, and B became part of the Miros family. And they bought their home in Mayfield Heights, raised their son Paul there, and in addition to being a stay-at-home mom, when Paul was young, she took classes at Tri-C and John Carroll. But B found her perfect niche in church in St. Constantine and Helen when, in 1972, Margie Moyer founded the church's library committee with a $500 endowment from the parish council. Margie, thank you for that. And the committee was and still is, a group of energetic and talented women whose goals include collecting books and items relating to our Greek Orthodox faith and Hellenic heritage. And people started contributing books for the collection, but one book on Greek costumes inspired B to a great idea. Little did she know. Knowing that several of the women in the group were talented seamstresses, she suggested the library start a costume collection that has grown through original costumes donated, as well as those made by the members themselves or repaired by the members of the library committee. And fashion shows were presented, and these are male and female costumes, and a collection was showcased in public libraries, in other churches, and at different events. And it has evolved into a one-of-a-kind and actually includes an ensemble from my great-grandmother's wardrobe. Using B's own words, quote, "While I was president of the library committee, Helen Collis and Andy Chikalis requested the help of the library group to be a steering committee for the upcoming Cleveland Museum of Art show called Holy Image, Holy Space." The book from that event is on the table over here if anybody would like to have a look at it. These were about the icons from Greece that ran in 1989, was it, I think? Yeah. Anyway, this was a very successful exhibit, and after the show left CMA, the steering committee gathered to dissolve itself. Instead, it decided to form the Hellenic Preservation Society of Northeastern Ohio, or HPS. We now do business just as Hellenic Preservation Society, and B stayed on and became a charter member of our board, including one term as president, and HPS received their nonprofit status in 1991, and she has been with us ever since. And so for the past 35 years, B has been secretary to our society and really more like archivist in chief. And I'm still not quite sure how she managed to sidestep all our bylaws about term limits, but that's another story, and I'm glad that she's here tonight. For she has a treasure trove of meeting minutes and other documents from our entire history. So it's my high honor tonight to present you with the 2026 Iliad Award for your great service to our society. Axia. So now you have to come up. Next. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I didn't know what, I'm not sure what happened here. No, anyway. I think I must have pressed one of the buttons, so. Yeah?
Hit current slide.
Where's that? Yeah, okay, got it.
Yep, and then from current slide.
From current slide, that's it. All right, we're getting there. Okay, the Odyssey Award. Sorry about that. All right, so on January 1st, 1932, guess what happened? Vasilios Bill Mavrakis, the youngest of 8 children, was born in Vrises, Crete. As a child and as a young man, Bill learned the ways of the life into which he was born, largely agrarian, and life-centered, of course, in Greece, in the island of Crete, around the family, the home, and of course, the church. And one day, in his 16th year, young Bill was charged with taking an injured British officer via donkey, the best means of transport along rocky rural roads. That's kind of hard to say. But as God would have it, this officer was also a gentleman. And he gave young Vasilios a letter of passage out of Greece and to a British protectorate. So Bill could have ended up in Canada. He could have ended up in Australia. He could have ended up in India. But Bill had an Uncle Nick in Coshocton, Ohio, south of here, and who instead he came to Coshocton, who offered to sponsor his nephew to come to America. And so at the ripe old age of 20, young Bill was learning the shoe repair trade in Ohio from his Uncle Nick, right? And when Bill visited Cleveland and first saw Lake Erie, he decided maybe he'd like to stay here. It reminded him of being near the water and being in Crete. And so here he stayed in Cleveland, and here he is in Cleveland. And after a few years at the various jobs, he decided to return to Crete to find a wife. And again, good fortune smiled on Bill as he found Stella Paletsakis in the Cretan city of Chania. And they married in 1958, and the newlyweds were back in Cleveland by 1959. In the 1960s, Bill joined the Cretan Club of Cleveland, which he served as president for 6 or 7 years. I suppose you're still an active member, yes? You paying your dues? Okay. Well, excuse me. So now married, Bill set up his first shop, and it was called Bill's Shoe Repair. In the early 1960s, he bought and befriended a dry cleaner, a nearby dry cleaning business, from a fellow named Lou Groza, who Cleveland Browns fans would know as Lou the Toe Groza. Well, back then, NFL players had to work and to work for a living other than football. But so Bill the Shoe and Lou the Toe merged businesses, and this was now called Bill's Dry Cleaning and Shoe Repair, and it was located in a building on Lee Road in Cleveland Heights. And Bill the Shoe, with his outgoing personality, also became known as the mayor of Lee Road. And that's just who he is. Wait a minute, let me show you this. A little premature, but wait a minute, another. All right, look at Bill in that picture. That's who Bill is. So now we come to a separate but important aspect of Bill's life: Greek dancing. Bill has joyfully danced his way through life. And at America's bicentennial in 1976, he and his family were invited to perform at a multicultural dance celebration on the Mall in Washington, D.C. And Bill is, very proud of this. I mean, the whole family went. And Bill is proud that as a result of this event, his name is engraved somewhere in the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. I hope it'll still be there in 2 years, Bill, but I suspect it will. So that was excellent. But Bill is the very personification of Greek dance. In my own mind, I can't think of Greek dancing without Bill coming to mind. And it's true. It's who he is. And it's one of his gifts in preserving Hellenic culture to our society at large, and one of the reasons he's being honored tonight, but only one of them. So when he retired from business in 2001, Bill became more involved with his church, Saints Constantine and Helen, Cleveland Heights. And there, he was a volunteer and a greeter extraordinaire. And I've been a member of that parish for 52 years, and last Sunday, Bill was the greeter when I walked into the narthex. Anyway, and he can be found on most Tuesday nights at our Oppa dance group every Tuesday at church, and that includes 2 nights ago when I saw him there as well. But during our Greek festival in the summer, beside his legacy of our elite senior dancing group, and Bill can be found making the uniquely Greek cold coffee frappe in the outside tent. Axios. and he can be, and about 10 years ago, when His Eminence Metropolitan Savas inaugurated what he called the St. Photios Award, which honored exceptional volunteerism, Bill was one of 2 people to receive the award from our parish. Again, Axios. Finally, Bill has the God-given gift of philoxenia, means the lover of a stranger or a newcomer, and that's who he is too, and that's what's showing up there. And so it's my great honor now to ask Bill to come up and receive this year's Odyssey Award. Axios.
Thank everybody. I feel like a Sunday morning, I'm San Constantine Helen. Everybody's here, and I love all of you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dean. I appreciate it. I never expected, but I love it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So one final thought. And then we're gonna break for some dessert and then come back to Dr. Bowman shortly. Being Greek is discovering, excuse me, being Greek is discovering your ancestors invented half the Western world and yet still whether you've had enough to eat. So anyway, this concludes the business portion of the meeting, but for this. This is about membership. The QR code up there will remain on the screen for a little while. You could actually join from your seats, depending on how far back you are. And this will take you right to our membership for a limited time only, but all the way through Monday morning. You can renew your membership or join at a discounted rate. So thank you all again. I'm not sure where we are for time, but not bad. Okay, so we're going to take 20 minutes or so, or maybe more. Dessert is going to be served. There's coffee over there. Have a stretch. Please look at some of the gifts that we have back there, silent auction items. We have a table of a display here, including some of the liturgical items. And here's a look at the awards. And thank you all for your attention. It's been my pleasure to talk to you.